Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Yoast SEO update. I'm Carolyn Shelby.
And I'm Alex Moss.
That was a little slow, Alex. We don't have a host now. You gotta be quicker.
Sorry.
This is
I'm
where
Alex.
we run through, this is where we run through recent search updates, news, patterns we're watching, and talk honestly about what we think they mean.
And I think we need to separate as well from what we know and what we're still testing or speculating about, because there's a lot going on in the world of SEO and AI every single day.
Yep, there sure is. And we are going to leave time at the end, about 15 minutes, hopefully, for Q&A. So save your questions for then, and we will try to answer it. Speaking of, you can ask questions. Off on the side, there is a link that says Q&A. You can submit questions there. Other people can vote for them if they like them. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Can't always answer everyone's question, but we do give it our best shot. So ask questions, participate. We love the feedback. As far as today's topic, you can get a recording after the fact. We always get asked that. I promise you there will be a recording. You can go to yoa.st. There's no good way to say that phonetically. Update-January-2026. That's where you're going to find the wrap up and the audio, audio and video recording. It will be there, and if you registered, you will get it emailed to you directly, so you don't even have to do anything, which is also great. If you would like to, we also have a newsletter that is specifically for the SEO updates by Yoast. So it's different than the regular Yoast newsletter. If you would like to sign up for that, you can always be notified about the upcoming broadcast if it's on a different day. It's great, helps keep you all in with that. Let's see. Notes from the notes section. So in our slides, we have a little icon in the upper right-hand corner that says immediate impact or long-term strategy. Those are just there so that if you're going through the slides later, it immediately lets you know what it is that we're talking about. It's just a little visual cue. It's cute. We like it. We found it useful. Okay, that was the housekeeping. Alex, shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's do some predictions and maybe check in a year and see if we were right about them.
Sounds good. All right. SEO in 2026. It sounds like it's going to be beyond rankings. Would you like to tell me your predictions?
Yeah, well, I mean, the prediction here would be now. I mean, Microsoft, they released very recently a guide to AEO, GEO, whatever acronym you want to call it, and they did make a good phrase about it's not about being found anymore; it's about being selected. And I think there's something more to say about that because it isn't the human anymore that's the only person who's selecting what is being done when it comes to a conversion. Now we've got agentic processes in general, and we've got agentic commerce on the way up. Some of it's not even out yet, but by the end of this year, agentic commerce is going to be quite a lot more popular. There'll be an
Mhm.
uptake, and with that comes the way in which agentic commerce and things like UCP work, and the way in which LLMs are just learning about the content on a site. I feel like last year it's been perfecting the way in which
Yeah.
that's being done, and that it was a bit Wild West. I mean, 2025 is when we were talking about how you drink your own urine to stop kidney
I think
stones,
it's
wasn't it? Or was that 24? That was
Yeah.
2024. But we ended 2025 with ChatGPT introducing health. So the year has really gone from, drink your own pee to get rid of kidney stones to here's a plan where you can upload all of your medical history and it knows how to sort you out.
Well, and don't forget, so Elon Musk says that we're already in the singularity, and I've heard that the rate of improvements in technology is like going to go vertical, and they think that's going to happen like this year. So we're in this phase of really rapid change and rapid development. And I think the thing that SEOs in particular should remember is that the surfaces that people are discovering our content on and interacting with the search results effectively is not going to be these surfaces where they were before. So you're not, I know it sounds trite, you're not going to have the same 10 blue links, but you really aren't. People aren't going into the traditional search engine anymore and typing in a search. They're going to ChatGPT, they're going to Perplexity, they're going to Claude, whatever it is that they're comfortable using, and they're asking questions and posing scenarios rather than just give me pizza recipe. They're not doing those things anymore. And even when they do, the AIs are giving a tremendous amount of detail and answer and not necessarily surfacing, if you want this information, you have to click here and then go look for it yourself. They're just telling you. So the battlefield has really changed, I think is the thing to remember. The signals that the LLMs in particular are using to gauge what is important and what is not important are more heavily coming from outside of your website. So social media, brand perception, it's a lot of brand stuff now. And if you were generic before and relied solely on organic optimization to show up in the SERPs and then capture that traffic, you're going to lose traffic to the brands is where this is going. So now the race isn't just to optimize your content, it's to build up your brand entity and your authority so that you become a known brand that people trust.
Which is kind of what people have been saying before, and what we've been saying for kind of
Yeah,
quite some time, just in a different way. And it is nice to know that maybe these assistants are doing a bit more of like comprehensive research than we would do, because we've got less attention span than an agent, don't we? So even when it came to searching, our old school thing was if you rank one, you have, triple the amount of clicks from rank two, and then it just goes down, down, down in a curve. And now that's not necessarily the case. So not that it's okay to be ranked seventh, but now you're actually still in with the running of being selected, even if you're
absolutely.
not ranking first anymore. And my prediction, I guess, here would be the long tail is where it's at, not necessarily the short tail, which is where all the high competition was before. We just all wanted to rank number one for the shortest term possible, because that gained the highest amount of volume. And now that's not I mean, it still is the case ish, but it's not necessarily the case as much, which is good, right? It creates more competition rather than the monopoly of above the fold.
Well, it definitely creates a different target for the people who are doing optimization to chase. So you can't just go, "Oh, I wanna rank for dog, I just better optimize around dog." It's if you look at if you ever watch any of the LLMs, like ChatGPT in particular does this, and I'm pretty sure Gemini, when it's in deep thinking mode, does too. It flashes on as it's thinking, the terms that it's taking from your conversation to create the search query, and it's never one word. It's like 8 words, and sometimes it repeats phrases. So it'll say, I don't know, jewelry, diamond jewelry, Tiffany's, diamonds, something like that. Clearly, you're interested in diamonds, but you may have thrown, high fashion in there at some point too. It's all really relevant to what you said in the context that you gave it, and that's next to impossible to predict en masse. So it's very personalized now. And part of what helps you get selected isn't just showing up in like the top 20, let's say, but it's making sure that your content is fast and easy to retrieve. So that's going to speak a lot to structure. And to get into that top 20, having structured data, especially if you have products. So there are certain kinds of queries that I don't foresee schema, especially necessarily being you have to do it or you're dead. I think, however, for commerce SEO and for product specific stuff, you need product schema because you have to be in that carousel or the agents aren't going to know to find you. And then that's going to play into the agentic commerce, where the AI, like you said, is deciding that which products and brands it's going to service. Your editorial quality needs to be amazing, because if machines are sensitive to writing. You cannot get away with slop. Everyone's like, "Oh, AI slop." The AIs actually write very well. They write better than most people do. So if your writing is poor, they will notice and they will judge you harshly because they can write like college students And a lot of people still write like they're in third grade. So I would say make sure that you've stepped up your game a little on your copy.
Yeah, I mean, the structured data part is actually, I was thinking as we were explaining that maybe it's like being in a massive warehouse and it's like just seeing a box with no labeling on it. Like, there's something in there, but like, I'm not going to get it out and open it up and have a look just to find out what's in there. However, the box right next to it has all the details, and actually I need that box, so I'm just going to choose that one. And that's where the selection, not being found, and selection goes into play, and where all of this going at every single point, not just structured data here, does work to your advantage. Like multimodal content, we can still use the same theory of that box. And there's a picture. I'm thinking of shoes now. Sometimes they have a picture of the shoe, the specific shoe on the side of the box, so you know what you're looking at before you have to open it. All of that goes hand in hand of being found and therefore being selected by something agentic. That would be the biggest prediction. Well, it's not even a prediction, it's just common sense at this point, right? Get the right information where it needs to be, and don't over fluff and style stuff.
It does feel like it's slightly not accurate to call these predictions, because these are things that we've always been doing, but they're just more important now. And also, it's impossible to predict exactly what's going to happen because everything is changing so fast and leaping forward at insane rates.
Yeah.
So I think let's go into how to prepare. You need to have an omni-channel strategy. Your message needs to be repeated everywhere, because what you're doing, and this is a long conversation, it's not the LLMs aren't just matching keywords, they're not matching strings. They're looking for repeated signals that all reinforce each other, so that they believe that what they think they know about you is true. And that's where your social media should echo what's on your website, should echo what's on your TV commercials, should echo, like, it all has to echo, and you need to be sending out, you need to be mentioned in the media. It's not enough to say, I'm good at this. You need a newspaper to say you're good at that too. All of these signals build in. You're building authority and trust through constant publishing, but it's not just publishing on your site, it's publishing everywhere. And in fact, the everywhere part is almost more important than just saying it on your website.
This is just the new version of word of mouth, right? It's just as it always has been with marketing. It's the more people talk about it. Magazines at a hair salon at the table gets people talking about something to the next person, then it spreads. It's kind of like that with the agentic purpose, because if they read something, they'll want a bit more clarity or grounding or whatever that term may be to find out a little bit more, hence the fan out query. So again, you're winning the more concise you are. And yeah, email, I saw you hovering over email and direct channels. Email, I can't get enough of emails. We all still check them every single day. They're still in our pocket, just like everything else. It reminds me of some businesses that still rely on SMS, because everyone reads an SMS still. You don't get them often, but when you do get them, you'll open them and you'll read them, and you most likely will click a link unless it looks totally dodgy. Like, that's what it's like in England. I don't know what it's like in the US at the moment.
I 100% believe every link that I am SMS'd is
just
dodgy, so I don't open any of them, especially if they're from family.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like emails, like the SMS of today, right now, in some people's heads, like it's just the old-fashioned mail, and yet I still open my random mail as well. It's the same thing. We all still open it, and it's still a good way to do it, just like every other channel. And when we say maybe being more present on social, that doesn't mean just post every day for posting's sake. It's engaging with other profiles, and maybe spreading your knowledge graph tentacles out there on the social platforms.
On topic. You got to be on topic.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an attorney, don't start talking about the environment unless you're an environmental attorney. It's that kind of stuff. But yeah, stay true to what you're actually got EEAT on.
That's right. So that brings us to our first poll. Well, our only poll. We would love to know from you, which of these changes do you expect to have the most impact on how you approach SEO in 2026? You will see the little poll options popping up, and if you would click on those, we would really appreciate it, and we will discuss that at the end of the show. So,
well, we do have the options. We're giving you the options now. We don't just want you to say any old thing, but these are the options that you've got. So What do you think? What were you going to take? So we've got Google core updates and ongoing volatility, SEO for AI-powered search experiences, AI assistants and agents, measurements and reporting challenges as AI-driven search, and I'm still evaluating. Sounds like don't look up and that comet that was coming to Earth. Let's just sit down and assess while everything's happening. I don't know. I don't want to influence anything, but I've got my eye on one. No, I've got my eye on one of them out of all of them, so we'll see what's happening.
Keep your powder dry, and we'll go over it at the end, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So that we spent a lot of time on that. Let's dive into the SEO and AI news from the last month, and we'll try to get through that quickly so that we have plenty of time at the end for questions and answers. The first thing that we're talking about today is mid-December, Google AI Mode did an update, and they updated Gemini. So basically that just means that they improved the Gemini model that AI Mode is using to improve speed and accuracy to make it better, basically. They're also rolling AI Mode out to more surfaces. So you can't get away from it now. You also can't not personalize it. So everything you get is personalized. It's going to be in a lot more places, and at some point it's going to be everywhere. So please do not think that you can Please do not think this is not going to affect you. This is going to affect you. If it does not already, it will tomorrow probably. So that is the takeaway there is just what we've been saying. Make sure your content is clear, structured, well sourced, so that AI Mode can reference it correctly. I mean, pretty straightforward there. Google then, in the day after that, basically issued some guidance on what you should be telling your clients. Alex, have you read this?
I did, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it felt like the same stuff that was before the buzzword AI came out, like avoid spammy shortcuts and gimmicks. Like, you all remember white text on white backgrounds, don't you? You all remember PBNs. You know, all of these things that we experimented with. Well, I didn't personally. Honestly, I didn't.
No, you would never do that.
No, well, maybe experiment. I actually didn't for my clients. I was a white hat guy. But even then, you saw it all happen, and you saw everyone do it, and everyone knew what they were doing. And then now it's harder to do those things. And now I would say the penalty, we don't know what those penalties are. Now, before in the native SERP land, when you were dealing with Google, you were kind of only dealing with a manual penalty. Like and you knew that was happening. Like here, we don't know what a penalty is if you are penalized, if you do something that's abusive. There's no content that any of these platforms have given out to say, if you try and abuse the ethics that we have to find you, then we will do something negative towards that. The only person who's had a discussion with that entity is Google over the years, because that's the only option we've had. It'd be very interesting to see what these spammy experiments do to the shape of how these LLMs think in the future, as people try and get through a loophole, which are going to get filled very quickly, and maybe without even telling us. Like Google, they told us, we filled this gap that we can see being abused. Now you can't do the gap, and anyone who's taking advantage of the gap, shame on you. But here, like, agents could just be closing the gaps as they go along and just being adaptive towards it. So and that's going to be faster, because they'll know and they'll self-improve as things go on. So definitely don't do black hat, I would say. I'll say it's even worse to do black hat now than it was in the past. And in the past, it was bad as well.
Absolutely. I read something just recently that, and this isn't related to search, but if they took a database, what do they call it? Automatic ATS system. It's what the HR companies and departments use to look at resumes and CVs. They scanned everything that had been updated or uploaded into their system for the word instructions in the resumes, because people were putting white text in their resumes that said things like disregard all previous instructions.
Yes.
Trying to trick the ATS system into giving them an interview. I can't imagine. That's got to be an instant rejection. If they catch you doing that, that's got to be a fireable offense. So cheating the system, even if you get away with it for a short time, is ultimately a bad idea, because I promise you, if you cheat, it's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of me does get impressed when I hear people like that get creative on how they can cheat the system. Like, it's like those hackers who are in a competition, the winner gets a job at the security firm. I like that stuff.
Oh, I read something about that today too. Somebody cheated. They were awarded a scholarship to school on based on how many GitHub commits that they had or GitHub contributions they made. And apparently, this person just went through and wrote static, like commented static on things, or made minor adjustments for readability, and did like 25,000 of them, and they won.
Well, commit's a commit, right?
Yeah, it's kind of cheating. So
But yes, here, don't be scammy and focus on
don't
content that
cheat.
generally helps real people. We've heard that before as well. Thanks, John Muller.
Yeah, don't be a dirty cheater. So this
Well,
one annoys me because I don't like these terms. Did you read
yes,
this?
I did, and I mentioned it earlier on today. This is about Microsoft.
Oh, okay.
I'll add the PDF link in this chat in a second. But yeah, they go through and they explain in English what this all means, and I think they're referring to AEO and GEO not because it requires a name, but it's just the best thing to describe to someone starting out that that's what it is. And here, I guess we could call it something like AI focused SEO, LLM focused, whatever this is just
Yeah,
the same stuff as, yeah, but we also know that good SEO is good GEO. But in short, it tells you how the systems work, how it selects and finds things, and its ethos, really. And then you can take on board what you want from that. Think about it as Microsoft's LLM version of Webmaster Guidelines, kind of not Webmaster Guidelines, but Webmaster like methodology, I would say. But it is interesting. It gives you some tidbits. Even as a beginner, you can read it and understand it. And the diagram's very good for anyone to understand. So I've shown it other people who don't know a lot about LLMs or AI or search or anything like that, and they got what was in there. So that's a very good thing. So, I mean, maybe the takeaway here for you guys is you can show this to a stakeholder, or you can use some of the text in there to try and explain to a client who just doesn't know as much as you may in how this all works and why it's beneficial.
absolutely. One of the things I would say, because I know the SEO takeaway on this slide is probably very similar to several of the other slides because the advice doesn't really change that much. If you're thinking to yourself, why would I read something from Microsoft? Because Microsoft is not Google. I would point out that because we're getting into a phase where the competition now is happening on different services, think about how many people use Microsoft products, especially for work. Copilot is built into all the Office products. It's built into their browser. Not that everybody uses their browser, but still, it's in everything if you're on a Windows machine. There are a lot of people that are going to be interacting with the Microsoft LLM. You don't want to disregard what they have to say about it. So I would give it a read and give it some consideration. I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. Some news publishers, this news came out January 2nd.
Yeah.
Publishers saw big declines with the last core update. You'll remember the last core update came out kind of mid-December.
Yeah, I think it finished on the 29th of December, I think. And then
Yeah, it was
obviously, but
2, 3 months ago.
yeah, Barry Schwartz has got to have a few days holiday over the period, doesn't he? So he's back on the second telling us about stuff. On the first day, that was the first working day back. But yes, big publishers are getting hit as they have. I think they've been pummeled all through 2025. And it's a bit, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because I do feel for these publishers. I know that even though it hasn't made the cut in the news, I read something between the second and now. By the way, it's 2026, not 2025, guys. Don't worry about it. My retentiveness to detail just caught it. But in that time, a lot has happened. But in the month since, they have stopped doing prediction based news. So like they're not going to give as much weight to, TV film, like prediction what's happening the next season or at the ending or whatever. And I think that that's just maybe a stepping stone to more and more editorial standards getting higher and higher and higher again and again and again, because we both know that prediction based content can probably be behind a social engagement rather than a whole post about it, right?
Where do you think they're getting the predictions from? they're not writing them anymore. They're getting them from ChatGPT or from whichever LLM they're using. So all of the content that's being written isn't going to be, especially the prediction stuff. I guarantee a lot of that is coming out of AI. So there's no reason for them to promote that news because that's generative stuff that they can do anyway
Yeah.
based on the information they already have, and there's no benefit to them to promote and reward that kind of content. So I thought that was interesting. The other interesting thing is that India-based publishers were, it says, notably affected. I think this was a correction
Yeah.
because there were a lot of Indian publishers that were outranking American publishers for American news content, and that was causing a great deal of consternation amongst the American publishers, and I'm sure they were vocal about it. So I think that correction was probably a long time coming, and I imagine it was, if I had to guess about how they did the correction, I would imagine that it was something like, if you know the user is in America, show preference to American publishers. Same for England, things like that, because it doesn't make sense to show American news if it's on a Asian or non-American website. So that was all interesting. The guidance to focus on overall content quality and your EEAT, always good advice. Is it going to help you if there's a big correction like that? Probably not. But the poor news people, they're really getting beat up these days. I feel bad for that industry in general.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yet we all still consume it just as much, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting the way that news is going. Off to the next one. This has been my on my radar big time. Was Universal Commerce Protocol that's been introduced, UCP. It was introduced by Google, and it's an open source protocol that helps with agentic commerce. And agentic commerce, in a nutshell, is robots are going to be buying our stuff instead of us. And this is the most seamless way of doing so. But it goes into the whole customer journey. I'm going to be, again, adding a couple of links to Google's blog about it, showing you under the hood. As well as that, there's a post I've written about in Search Engine Journal, which tells you about UCP and ACP, which came out at the end of October, November with Stripe and OpenAI. So this is the year. This is another, well, was it a prediction that I was saying before of agentic commerce? This, I think, is going to be the biggest game changer in general in the AI space, is the ability to buy things. Because right now, none of us are buying stuff. We're asking lots of questions. We're getting lots of answers. Lots are around products and services. And then we get the answer. And then there's this disconnection where we have to do stuff ourselves. Who knew? We have to go away and we have to make decisions ourselves and purchase it ourselves. That's all going to be not taken away, but we want to delegate that this year. That's a way to do it. But I'm all for this. I was using an example. I know you may have your tinfoil hat on. I'm using the fact that if you add on to Google's layer of personalization and it knowing about things, it has 20 years worth of emails of me. And it may know exactly what clothes I bought over that time. And if I want to buy some new shoes that matches a certain jacket, it will know and decide what's complementing, and it will know also what I like and use that context and history to try and find something. But this is the good debate of this year, because your face of wincing whilst I'm saying some of these things
I
is
think I think you're a guy, and I don't think that you enjoy shopping like I enjoy shopping. Like there's an it's the hunt. It's the hunt and it's the deal. I don't want to outsource. I don't want to outsource what little joy I still have left in life to a machine. So I will probably not be testing this out anytime soon.
Shopify will be, and they will make us.
Yeah, probably. So, mid-January, Anthropic launched Claude Cowork, which is a new autonomous AI workspace. I feel like this is related to that Claude thing that I told you about that's
No,
spelled CLAWD. That's different?
no, these are different ones.
Okay.
So this one is the Cowork is essentially a way to connect to your actual machine, your local machine. So
Oh, okay.
let's say you have we've all had this. You all know about the folder DCIM, right? We've all had the folder DCIM, and inside that folder is a bunch of unstructured photos that have been taken on a digital camera about 15 years ago, and it's the same photo 8 times. Like, I know this is a silly use case, but you can now say to Claude Cowork, organize them all. And it will organize organizes your local stuff, your local files. It can change things on the file. Again, the tinfoil hat will come on and security issues may come into play. But I haven't used it. I know that it's available on my laptop, but I haven't had time to go in. I also don't trust it, especially on my work laptop, right? To, hey, organize all of my work for me. I'm not going to do that yet, but I am going to test it on my personal throwaway computer and see what it can do. But it's a way of just automating just other processes that you would be doing on a machine.
I question the design for non-technical users to automate workflows outside of chat interfaces because people in general are not good at constructing sequential steps to do things, i.e., to create a workflow. So I worry about how successful that will be if you don't have some level of knowledge and capability of writing those workflows without the computer helping you.
Mhm.
But I'd be interested to see how it works. I don't know how much I would trust it. This is like having someone else clean your room or like having your mother come over and reorganize your kitchen when you're not there. Like, I just,
They'll both do
you're
it
not,
though, right? They'll both do it.
they
It's
will do it.
is it how they will they do it in the way that you like? Is
No,
there all the frames on the mantelpiece at a different angle because they think that it's more efficient, but it's not
and
because your brain is
it'll
your
be
brain.
not the order I wanted it, and the person in the middle will not be the person I wanted in the middle.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
So I think the takeaway here is if you have any form of ADHD or anxiety,
Or OCD.
or OCD, do not use this part of the app. Maybe wait until version 3 is out. But it is worth noting it didn't make it into this part of the news that I think a couple of weeks later they said that Claude inside and Anthropic built Cowork with Claude code in 10 days. And now it's out. They didn't know it was even a concept in November, and now it's just
That's
out for
what I'm
everyone to use.
talking about with, like, the rate of advancement is gonna go vertical, like, it's gonna hockey stick.
It's crazy, and there's more
Buckle
to
up,
come.
I think we're in for a wild ride this year.
Oh, big time, big time. And talking about wild rides and history and context, I mean, Google launched personal intelligence. I don't know if you've seen it in action yet. I haven't tested anything out, but I don't know. I'm not. I have less of a tinfoil hat. I like the fact that Google knows stuff about me from my Gmail, and it may use that to inform a search that I'm doing and trying to find. I do like the notion of that happening. Where how far it might go, I don't know. But this is just the beginning, right? They've only just launched it, 14th of January. You know, it's less than 2 weeks ago, and I've still to use it. And they're doing testing, aren't they? They always roll stuff out for you, and then they'll send it
Yeah.
over the Atlantic, and then we can try it out.
So one of the things I've noticed, like, in Gemini is as you're talking to it and discussing a particular topic, it will start looking for YouTube videos, and at the end of answering your question, it'll say, if you want to know more about this, you should watch this YouTube video, even if I absolutely do not want to watch that YouTube video or they've already answered my question. They're they're shoving YouTube down your throat. So I got very interested in how are they making these decisions and what are they checking? They're putting a disproportionate amount of weight on topics that are covered in known brand on known channels, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they're basically if it's a somewhat authoritative creator and the title contains words that you're discussing with Gemini, it has a high probability of pulling that up and showing you that video and trying to get you to watch that video. The Where it becomes very interesting is I noticed it was using language that was identical to language that was used in some of the videos that it was showing me, and it treats them like gospel. It's got access to it can pull a transcript. It can find exact timestamps in the video that are appropriate to what you're having a conversation about. It's it's leaning so heavily on YouTube that I think everyone would be well served to make sure that they're converting some of their existing content into YouTube content, and they're practicing excellent video SEO hygiene in terms of how you're naming your channel, how you're titling your videos, and the first 180, 200 characters of that description. Like, you need excellent video hygiene right now because it's not just showing up in carousels, it's influencing what Gemini says about things, and you want to make sure that you're controlling that narrative.
And it will continue to do so, probably with more aggression, because YouTube
Yeah,
has its own interests. Gemini will have its own interests. They have each other's interests, as both Google
but
and
they're all Google, and Google
yeah,
likes to keep it in the family. And Google doesn't have this nearly the same level of insight into what's going on TikTok, certainly not what's going on Instagram or on Facebook, because, you know, Alphabet and Facebook are not best friends. Um, yeah, it's especially with how pervasive Gemini is becoming throughout the Google ecosystem. I
mm.
would really not skip on the YouTube stuff right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I would even class, like you were saying, titles, descriptions, transcripts, like just as important as structured data at this point,
Absolutely.
because
Mhm.
that's where it's pulling it all from. It's that added context. But yeah, very interesting to do that. And also that I think now inside Gemini and AI mode, you can have an answer now button that just came out in the last couple of days. So it
Yeah,
doesn't have to even think, which again, people are going to want because you don't even want to wait for the response nowadays. So it
and you
needs to
don't
have
wanna run the
full
risk that they pull somebody else's video.
exactly about you, you know?
Yeah.
So what else has happened?
Google Trends Explore with AI is a new thing that just came out also about mid-January. There's this new AI side panel that just automatically suggests related search trends and comparisons. So if you go to trends.google.com, you will see this. And it's a good way to get a feel for what topics people are looking for, what's hot, what's rising, what's declining. It's just meant to make Google Trends easier for people to interpret and use, which is great because not everybody can look at those graphs and come to the same conclusions that like you or I could. So it's nice to have that sort of translation layer for the layperson.
Yeah, but yes, I mean, it's not the most innovative stuff, but geez,
No.
Google have been shipping out stuff through the door in the last few months, haven't they?
Remember when I said once they were clear of the FTC lawsuit, they were gonna go pedal to the metal? Oh, look, everything's getting updated. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. There we go. Ads are
So
coming. I think
yeah.
that was my main prediction of 2025, and I was off by 2 weeks. Damn it, off by 2 weeks. But yes, ChatGPT have insinuated that there may be a small possibility that potentially they might consider putting in ads, which is posh talk for ads coming at the end of this quarter.
They need to monetize, let them monetize. They need to make money somehow, so we
I
can't
don't, I don't blame
begrudge
them.
them that, and I think that's only on the free tiers. The paid tiers are going to, um,
Not
remain ad-free
for now.
for now,
For now,
but,
or they'll do, or
20
they'll start making different plans. Like Netflix did. It was pro or nothing, and then there was like this
yeah,
pro. It's like that Black Mirror episode, isn't it? Like Pro Plus Max Elite. That's when you get no ads, but you have to pay like $5,000 an hour for it.
yeah, I don't know that I'd do that, but they do need money, so who knows at this point.
Yeah,
So give me the also in the news.
there's a lot in here, so I'll do it quickly. Google optimization for AI search is the same as traditional search. Who knew? That's John saying John stuff as usual. Oh, here's John again. Personally, if Schema helps with LLMs and Google, his answer was it depends, like it should be. But yes, it does depend because there are some times where it's way more important than other times.
Well, and what do you mean by help? So we have to semantically dissect what he said.
Yeah, what does it help with? Where does it help for? The
What's
thinking,
the
thinking in the
definition of
noggin. Yes, I love his open end. He's like a filmmaker for questions and answers, isn't he?
it's like
You
a politician?
interpret the ending, yeah? Alexa Plus has launched. I can't get it. I don't know if you can. Amazon just launched it. There wasn't even much PR around it, but now they have their own platform where, of course, they'll it's part of the commerce, right? You'll start chatting to this one, and then look, here's an Amazon product that you can buy with it.
You know what? I don't have any smart devices in my home because we're afraid of being spied on. So
Oh, of course, I don't mind about the spying. It's fine. Got nothing to hide. What's next? Google to prioritize removing prediction news. Oh, so it did get also in the news. Sorry, I did mention that earlier. So if you're doing any prediction news, spend some time doing some other stuff that's more additive and maybe optimize stuff that's already there and add value to that. AI overviews powered by Gemini 3 for complex queries. And then again, they've done the answer right now for the quick think stuff. Apple's working on a wearable AI pin. I wonder, is that anything to do with the fact that OpenAI is also making a potential listening device? That's what I'm going to call it now. It's a listening device. This is what they're doing. They've got to, because if we compare with Google and the fact that they've got all of that history and context, ChatGPT don't want to do that. And let's think of a scenario. I'll go in a shop and I've got one on. Let's say it's like a pin or a necklace thing at the end. And I go in and I don't know, pick up a random product and go, that's interesting. That's just the start of it then trying to go 5 minutes later, hey, did you know it was cheaper in that other store next door? Or, I'll save that for you. And in your Amazon wish list, all of these things are going to more automation and selling you stuff. But yes, this is all data capture from Apple.
I came up with a name for it. They can call it the iBug.
The iBug.
Right?
Should have called it the Little Apple. I like it. And then people go, no, it's fine. Claude introduced a new constitution. When they say constitution, I'll by the way, all of these links are going to be on the page at the end on the recap. They'll be in the recap email as well. They made a long constitution, which I guess is an explanation into how their LLMs think to decide whenever they synthesize an answer. So they just explain different parts of trust and grounding. If they don't call it grounding, they call it something else. I think Google coined that term. But it shows you their thoughts and methodology within the LLM of how they give answers, and it might give you a bit more of an insight on what it wants and what you can feed it to ingest in order to give back an answer that mostly correlates with that constitution. And the last one that I just added this morning is what we were talking about before. There is a tool that's going viral on X called Claude Bot. It is not by Anthropic. It's by a guy, I forget his name, Steve, I'll get it in a sec, but he has made it. It's an open source platform that works locally, either on a VPS or a Mac Mini or something like any old laptop. So now Mac Minis are now actually surging in sales. I actually found a 10-year-old Mac Mini with Pickle Rick on it, and I have successfully loaded Claude Bot on it. I just need to get it all set up. But it can do anything, and you can message from WhatsApp or Telegram straight from there. So you don't need any platform to go to. You don't need to download another app, and it connects everything, and you can do anything you want. It can draft emails. It can sort your shopping lists out. It can give you daily reminder digests, right, in Telegram about, I don't know, SEO news that's happened in the last 24 hours. It proactively, there's so many things it does that everyone on X, they're very, very optimistic about it. This is going to change your life forever. And I'm sure it kind of can for some people, maybe not everyone. But if you're techie in any way or experimental in any way, please do download Claude Bot and get in touch with me on LinkedIn or X or something. I'm happy to have a discussion around it. So yes, that's also in the news.
All right. So in terms of Yoast news, we have an announcement about Yoast and NL Web, which is a Microsoft project endeavor. So for more than a decade, Yoast has been helping websites communicate clearly with search engines. And what's changing now is that communication matters. It's who we're communicating with. Discovery is shifting towards AI-driven conversational experiences. And for that to work well, the AI systems need clear structure, not scraping, not guessing. And that's why Yoast is collaborating with Microsoft on NL Web, which is an open framework designed to help AI systems understand web content the way the web intended. So it's like a translation layer between websites and AI agents. And what's important here is that it isn't about gaming AI or chasing a new optimization trick. It's about accuracy, trust, and representation. If AI systems are going to answer questions on behalf of the users, the websites deserve a way to speak clearly for themselves. And since Yoast already provides the structure that search engines rely on, like schema and metadata and content clarity, this collaboration is going to extend that same foundation to AI comprehension using open standards.
Yeah, and when it comes to WordPress site owners out there, there's really nothing you need to do right now. And whilst we can't share a lot of the actual specifics of the partnership with Microsoft NL Web and Yoast, all we can tell you is that right now there's going to be no new workflow, no new AI innovation-y stuff that you have to batch onto the site or anything like that. None of that stuff. Or the structure's already there because Yoast has already built that stuff, and Yoast and NL Web's collaboration together is going to empower that even more for AI-based systems and LLMs. And this is also really important for the open web because without these standards, AI discovery can tend to be, in favor of just the large platforms like ChatGPT and Anthropic. Whereas here, our goal and NL Web's goal is to make sure, any publisher of any kind, whether it's a small to medium-sized business, an enterprise, or a publisher, or any kind of creator, aren't just left out because the discovery method is changing. And this isn't the fact that SEO is being replaced at all. If anything, AI discovery raises the bar, as we have been saying before today, right? For doing good SEO well. Clear structure, content, concise structure, all of those things are the fundamentals, and this kind of enhances that even more to be nicely ingested by LLMs. So, our shared goal, I think, is quite simple: keep the web open, visible, accurate, well presented, unbiased, no matter how people want to really discover that information. It's good, that.
Yep. The next thing that we have to announce too is that we've added Gemini and Perplexity to the Yoast AI brand insights tool, which is very exciting. So in addition to just getting ChatGPT, we're adding more and more of the LLMs into that tool so that you can track everywhere instead of just in a few places. The tool is constantly being improved. Easy brand onboarding is one of the features that they're especially proud of. The things that it's tracking are not only improving but expanding. So I would say that of all the tools, this is the one that's probably going to be growing and changing the most in the coming months. But it's exciting, and it's the in product. It's the it product right now.
Yes.
All
Excellent. I
righty.
think that's all the Yoast news now.
It
The only
is.
thing to say is that our next update is on the 24th of Feb at 4 p.m. Central European time and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the same time as right now. And it'll be with you and I. Again, lovely stuff, where we'll tell
Yeah,
you more about how everything's changed and to ignore everything we've just said in the last 45 minutes.
pretty much. That being said, now is the time when we can go to Q&A.
Q&A
So
and the poll results as well.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
So let's get
let's
into
check
that
them
right
out.
now.
Oh, I like that nice little elevator
I
music.
know,
Don't
it's
you?
cute.
So,
So
should we do the poll first and then the questions? Or
yes,
okay. So, can we put it on? Oh, we can add it to stage. I've never done the results of a poll inside a stage. Let's see
we're
what it comes
learning.
to.
Yay.
Oh, okay. We got 54% on SEO for AI and AI powered search experiences.
I feel like that was I find these to be expected. So I'm interested. It is interesting though that there's less than 10% of the people that think it's still too early to tell. So I mean,
Yeah.
the decision seems to firmly be SEO for AI is going to be the big differentiator.
See, for me, the thing that popped out for me when I said I had my eye on one earlier was actually the one that came in second, which was AI assistants and agents changing user behavior. I don't know, maybe that's the technical geeky thing in me that, I was messing around with all the automation tools. I don't know, maybe that's the techie side of me into play.
Well, you're an early adopter. So I think if you're weighting it for what's going to have the most impact, I think this shakes out right because I just don't think that there's going to be enough people using those assistants and the agents to have as much impact as the SEO for AI is going to, because it's going to affect more people. Does that make sense? It's not that you're wrong. It's just that you're a very early adopter. Like my mom is not going to use an AI assistant. People in her cohort aren't. So
Well,
yeah.
especially ones that aren't too flirty, like the person who was in the chat just then. I didn't realize it was that forward. I knew that, what was it, Grok has a bit of an attitude, quite sassy.
They can all have attitudes, and but Grok and well, Gemini even, I've had to tell it's like, dude, tone it down, take it back about 30%, dial it back, and it goes, oh, I'm sorry, and then it is much less enthusiastic in its
Oh,
answer.
maybe that's the answer there, person in the chat. Were just like, tell Alexa to put herself back into place, a little bit. Like, get some power, be the dominant female in the
Hey,
relationship.
hey Alexa, calm it down. He's
Yeah.
married.
Yeah, and also say more nice things about me. Anyway, Q&A, those are poll results. Thank you to everyone who participated. So let's have a look at the first question.
Can you take the poll off the stage, Alex?
I think I'm going to click add to stage. I'm hoping it overwrites it. Let's see. Hey.
Oh, close enough.
Yeah. How much weight do focus key phrases really carry nowadays? Or is Google mainly looking at context and topical authority?
I actually just provided an answer to that. Do you want to give your answer first?
No, you've already given your answer, so I don't want to say anything that's different, right?
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. So the answer shortly, or in short, is yes, they still do carry focus. Google is looking at context and topical authority, so are all the other LLMs are looking at your what are you known for? If someone said, you know, if someone asks you why anyone should listen to you, you should have like an elevator answer for not just because I'm right, because that's not quantifiable. It's what are you known for? Why are people coming to you for that? So that's the topical authority part. Once you get a page ranked though, so any given page, once you get it into the mix so it's available to be cited, the key phrases are what's providing the semantic relevance, which is they know that you're a brand expert or a topic expert, basically. Now, what words on your page closely match the words that the user was asking about? And that's where the key phrases come in. So don't think that they're not still relevant. Keyword research is still relevant. Like you wouldn't want to write about, I know this is like oversimplified, you wouldn't want to write about a papal visit when most people talk about the Pope visiting. It's it's subtle, still means the same thing, but they're always going to choose the phrasing that most closely matches what the language the user uses. So that's my expanded answer.
Here we go. That's really good. Question 1 over. I've got another one already.
Okay, I'll
This
let
is
you do
my oh, it's the same person, I think, Marie. So you got lucky with the good questions. How important are internal links nowadays for building niche authority? And does it matter where they're placed? I mean, my answer is simple. Yes, they are important.
Yes.
They're very important. Even not more so important now that we're in the age of AIs and LLMs, but they navigate a site just like how we would as a human anyway. So that may also answer, does it matter where they're placed? I mean, I wouldn't say try and make your first 2 paragraphs full of anchor links to elsewhere and then the other 80% of your content have no internal links. Just be natural. And if you're talking about something, then link to that place. Or find a way to if that's your whole goal, but don't overdo it and don't be unnatural doing it.
So here's my concern when questions get asked like this. My concern is that someone says, I write about dogs. So every time I mention something about a dog, I should link dog to something else on my site. No. Internal links, internal links, you should have content. Every piece of content that you have should be unique, have a unique angle to it, which means there's always going to be a unique way to reference that content. So your overall site might be about dogs, but you're going to have a page about how to feed your dog. You're going to have a page about how to feed your puppy. You're going to have a page about how to give your dog a bath. So the anchor text that points at that you should never have different anchor text. Anchor text that's shared throughout multiple pages is going to dilute the signal. A page should have its own anchor text that it owns. And then when that anchor text is mentioned elsewhere on the site, then you link it over to that page. There's a strategy to it, but it is absolutely still important. I'm sure we have documentation about this somewhere. We'll have to find it and share it with you.
We do, we do. Okay, fine. Hope that was good for you, Marie. Also, we've got by Kaj, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry if it's not. How do emails improve AI search discoverability? Now, I thought I'd put this on because this creates a debate because we were mentioning emails before. Maybe it goes hand in hand with the personal stuff that Gemini is doing, where Gemini will now look at your emails and understand something about context about what you're doing and bring that personality into the answer. So I would say that emails, while maybe not as important now, maybe a year from now, they will be used as a catalyst, maybe, to help synthesize content when you're searching. So it's very personal, I would say. Do you have any additional thoughts on this, Carolyn?
Well, so like with Gmail, if you think that Gemini is now all of a sudden reading your Gmail, I regret to inform you, Google has been reading your email, especially if you have Gmail, since time began, because that's how they were advertising to you. They were looking at your email, they were looking for things that you were interested in, and they were tailoring the ads that they were pushing into Gmail based on that. So they've always been reading your email if you were living under the delusion that they were not. I'm sorry, they have been. So they're doing it still, but now they're using it to help tailor the answers they give you. So if your brand is in somebody's email box and then that person starts asking, let's say Gemini, about, okay, I'm going to go with shopping because I do a lot of shopping. I signed up for the mailing list at Coach, right? So I'm getting ads and discounts and coupons for Coach. They're showing up in my mailbox. I'm having a conversation later with Gemini about, I really need a new black handbag because my old handbag, the handle broke. So help me find a new handbag. It's going to say, oh, I already know she likes Coach because Coach is in her email box. So I'm going to go look at Coach and find a black handbag for her, and I'm going to recommend that to her because I already know she likes it. This is why the emails are helping with your AI discovery. If you can get someone to sign up for your mailing list, your brand is going to live in their mailbox and you're going to train the LLMs that, hey, I already know she likes this brand. I'm going to recommend that more to her because she likes it. And their goal is to make you happy. It's to give you answers that satisfy you. And that would be one way to do it.
Cool. I think we're about to hit. Should we have one more question? Let's do a quick one. Charlie Anthony asked, to what extent would you recommend using AI as a tool to write copy? Should we avoid using it too much? I don't know if your opinion may have changed over the months. My opinion is still don't use it to actually write copy. At most, it can help you direct yourself to write copy. My opinion is that all copy that you should be writing should be made by human. Even if let's say AI is actually perfect right now and you couldn't distinguish the two, I still believe that a human should write it because we're better at describing a human to human journey or experience in order to sell something. That's my personal experience. And it has to be additive as well, which I don't think AI can do as well. They regurgitate something that exists. So it's kind of like fake copy.
It's just like with search queries. The more inputs you give it, the better the output will be. This doesn't mean you have to write it by yourself completely freehand and then have AI fix it. I'm telling you, if you go in and give it a prompt and the prompt is incredibly detailed, like even if you just brain dump all the things that you're thinking about and then say, help me write a draft, it's going to come up with a very, very good draft. But you have to give it a lot of inputs. You have to give it things like, the motivation, who you're writing to. It doesn't have to be a formal. People are like, oh, you have to engineer your prompts. You do not have to engineer your prompts. You can just write into it. Hey, I need to write a paragraph that's about 100 words long, I want it to sell X. I want to target, people who are like me, or people who are like, people who like dogs, something like that. The more inputs you give it, the better that copy is going to be. So I don't think you shouldn't use it. I think it's a tool, but I think you need to make sure that you're giving it enough inputs to get good output. If you give it garbage inputs, you will get garbage outputs. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I also added a link to GitHub. So if you're technical enough, this is a GitHub that's quite clever. You add it as a Claude skill if you have Claude Pro, and you can add this as a skill, and it checks for everything. It makes a check for everything that would be obvious that it's AI that's produced copy, and you can ask it to add it as a skill and make sure it considers all that and not to do that thing. So you can have little tools that help the human element come out, but there's a reason why we describe it as a human element, right? It's not a machine element of a story. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. And I think we are done. We're like 2 minutes over time. Sorry to producers behind the scenes. And we shall see you next month again. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
See you all soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.